Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well this morning. As you get here, make sure you say hello. Good morning, everyone. Make sure you say hello and let me know that you're here. All right. Now let me pull this up on my phone. Perfect. Whoops. One more thing. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful day. Just fixed myself a fresh cup of coffee. I am good. And I am ready to share today's affirmation and journal prompt with you. And it actually came from me thinking a little bit about let me back up. Yesterday, I reached out to some people that I think would do amazing work, or they do amazing work. And I wanted to give them the push and the opportunity to be more vocal about it and let people know because and in several of the groups that I've been in recently, one of the basic things about conversations are that, if we've got something that helps someone, then it's our duty almost to share that with people so that they can get the answer that they need. And I've talked a lot about, putting your billboard out and what happens if you don't, because people can't get their needs met. And a lot of times people don't share what they do enough because of some different limiting beliefs and fears that are coming up within them. And I think when we can take our view off of us and how it affects us, if they buy or don't buy or like it or don't like it, right? That's a lot of what our anxiety comes from. But if we took it away from that and just said, there's people that need help and here's what I've got, let me let them know it's here, and then they can decide whether it works for them or not. It's not my responsibility to make them do anything. It is my responsibility to share and give them the opportunity, right? And a lot of times as an entrepreneur, we kind of get stuck in this space of feeling like we're selling something, when in actuality, we are giving people an opportunity to meet the needs that they have. And so that's where this was born this morning. And so I'm just going to go ahead and share. Hold on, oh, doggone it, I did it wrong. Hold on a second. Hit the wrong button. Let me go back over here. I should have cleaned my glasses before I got in here because I'm looking through a little bit of a fog. And don't we do that in life a lot of times, right? I talk a lot about what's going on in our world is dependent on the filter that we're looking through. Well, right now, mine is not real clear. However, I'm looking past around that, and we'll be cleaning my glasses when I get off here, clearing up my vision of the world. All right, so let me go ahead and share today's affirmation. Let me check and see what we got over here. All right, beautiful. So our affirmation for today is, it's time to stop whispering and let my voice be heard. Because a lot of times we're saying, come over here, I can help you. But we say it so low that they're looking, but they can't hear us. And so it's time to be more powerful, right? So my message is powerful, and there are people who need to hear it. I'm ready to shout it out with confidence and purpose. And so I titled this was The Beauty of Confidence and Purpose. And the reason is that when you can have confidence in what you have and the purpose of, sharing it, then the amount of people that you can help and touch in some way, it's a ripple effect. Remember, we do one thing, it ripples out further. So let's just say, for instance, I know you've probably seen movies and different news shows and things where someone was having a hard time and they were really on the verge of suicide. And one thing happens, somebody speaks out, somebody helps them, somebody friends them, somebody offers assistance, and then it changes the whole thing and they no longer feel the need. And I'm not, that's not really a good analogy, but it is an analogy. It is what happens a lot of times. And I'm not saying that everybody that you're going to reach out to is suicidal. And so you've got to do this right now, but you don't know what's going on in people's lives and what they need. And they don't know how to get their needs met because you're not talking about what you do enough. You're not sharing it with people. You're not shouting it from the rooftops. I mean, look at it. I think we've talked about this a little bit before. If you go to the movies and you see a movie that is amazing, and it's like it made you laugh, it made you cry, whatever it was, and you left thinking, oh my God, that was amazing. What do? You get on social media, you call a friend, and for the next week, probably, you will talk about that movie to everybody that you come in contact with because it was so good. And you tell them, you've got to go see that. Now, your sharing with them didn't mean that everybody was going to go see it. And it didn't matter to you, right? All that mattered was you were excited and it was good. And you wanted to make sure they knew how good it was and have the opportunity to go see it. But see, it should be the same way when it comes to the work that we do, is that we should be so excited about it, knowing the difference it can make for people. Even if you're just beginning, it has the potential to make a difference for people, right? And you want to be telling people about it, just everybody, right? Because if you're not, then who is there coming in contact with you, longing for an answer, and still leaving your presence and still longing when you might have had the exact thing that would help them? So that doesn't feel good, right? It feels good when we allow ourselves to just speak up, stop whispering, and start shouting. This is what I do. This is how I can help you. And, even if, because maybe a lot of people in the group are not entrepreneurs. I think most of you are. But even if you're not, and you someone who's a solution. So let's say, for instance, if you had someone that come into your world and they were talking about having an issue with their stomach or something, okay? And an amazing doctor that could help them. And you didn't say anything because, I don't want them to think that I'm trying to sell them on something. No, you would say, there's this amazing doctor that I've heard of and I've seen people talking about him, and you need to reach out to him because I bet he can help you, right? So you can be doing this in so many different ways, but it's time to stop whispering and start shouting. Having confidence in your abilities and your purpose and your ability to help someone. Because remember, it's a ripple effect. You help one person, and then they may tell someone else. It helps them, and then they tell someone else. And so you have no idea the amount of people that you can reach. And it's our responsibility to offer, and then it's their responsibility to decide whether it's a good thing for them or not. Does that make sense? All right. So let me have a sip of my coffee before I go on to the journal prompt. But the reason this feels so important right now is just there's a couple of groups that I'm part of and I'm partners with someone in these actual groups, these programs. And one of the consistent things that shows up is that people are afraid of looking salesy. They're afraid of what is someone going to say? What if I tell someone what I do and they don't like it? What if, right? And I've been there so many times myself. And just to share really quickly, yesterday I was wanting to invite more people to the Find Your Voice Challenge, right? And so as I was about to start reaching out, good morning, Heather, good morning. As I was starting to reach out, suddenly I got a little bit nervous. I thought, well, what if they don't want to find their voice? And then I had to remind myself, it has been amazing for me. And it has been amazing for a lot of people. And so I am not being kind if I keep it to myself, right? And so I decided that no matter what, I was going to do the outreach and just see what happens, right? Well, what happened was there were several people that were interested in getting more information, but there were also people that I hadn't connected with in a while, and now they're coming back on my podcast, or they're getting on my podcast for the first time. They're maybe they're all of them are not in my group here, but now I can actually say, hey, you want to come in my group? Do you want to be part of this? And I'm constantly now looking at people when I'm interviewing them on my podcast or talking to them in general. Can they help my people in my group? Right? And if they can, then I go ahead and try to get them on the schedule to come in as a guest expert. Like I've got 2 coming in this month. Actually, this upcoming Monday, I've got Jennifer coming in, and she's a belly dance expert. And one of the programs that I have out right now, one of the things we're doing for movement and getting connected with our body more is belly dancing. And so she's going to come on and talk about the art of belly dancing and why it's important and what the movement does for getting in touch with your body. It's going to be amazing. So definitely check that out. And I would love to have you come. And then the following Monday, and each of these are at 2 p.m. Eastern. And the following well, it could be money. The following Monday is going to be Jamie B. And she is amazing. She's going to be helping with people who are looking to write their book. And maybe you've got a story within you that you're wanting to share. But one of the things that you got to do, if you're going to write a book, you have to stop whispering too, right? You have to start shouting. You have to be okay with your message getting out, right? And so if you're wanting to write a book, you've got to start getting your voice heard. So the thing is that I'm getting at is that we all have a reason to be speaking up. And no matter what it is that you're working on, if you do it in total silence, if you're in a room all by yourself and you create something amazing and nobody knows it, what's it for? Right? It's like the old thing, if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? Probably not. It's a vibration that goes out. If there's no ears to hear it, it just goes away. But there's always animals and things like that can hear. But when you're creating something in a vacuum and you're not sharing anything about it, it's like that tree in the forest. It falls and makes a big impact, but there's nobody there to hear it. And I want you to be letting your voice out. Stop whispering and start shouting with confidence and purpose. All right, so now I'm going to get to the journal prompt. Let me grab it real quick. There we go. So our journal prompt is, what's the message you've been holding back that the world needs to hear? What is that message? What is the message that you've been holding back that the world needs to hear? I've got a person that's going to be coming on my podcast for the second time, and she was a victim of domestic abuse to a really big degree, and she lost her children. There was so many different things that happened to her. And when I had her on my podcast, she was in the middle of a legal battle, and the angst within her was just really, really intense. Rightly so, right? And then when I was doing an outreach yesterday, I reached out to her again. And when I saw her on my list, I thought, wait a minute, I haven't checked in with her for a while. Let me just see where she's at. And so I found out that there's so many things going on for her. Her life has changed. So I invited her to come back on my podcast to share that. Because so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're coaching someone, or it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got this product that's going to solve all their problems. It may just be that you've got a story of how you were and how you are now and what happened in between. And just by somebody hearing that story, they suddenly feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. Other people have dealt with this. This is what she did. Maybe that would help me. So just what is the message that you've been holding back that the world needs to hear? Maybe it's something that you've gone through and now you're finished with it. You're through it, right? So write about how sharing it boldly could impact others. And one way you'll amplify your voice starting today. So remember, we're going to leave the whisper behind and we're going to start shouting from the rooftops. This is what I've got for you, right? And so it's a beautiful thing to allow what's happened in your life to help someone else. And, the way I got started with all of this stuff that I'm doing is that I was a yo-yo dieter my whole life. And I finally got to the place that I said, I've either got to be happy with being fat, make peace with it, and just, okay, that's the way it is. Or I had to do something about it. And so when I decided I needed to do something about it, I wasn't going to be happy just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, which was what I was doing. I decided that I would look into coaching. And as I was looking into getting a coach, I discovered a coaching school, a virtual coaching school that I could participate in that was a year long. It was very expensive, especially for where I was right then. But their whole thing was habit change. And I decided that's what I needed. And so all of these things that were going wrong in my life, I finally had this solution. But what if when I was looking, nobody put anything out about how they could help? And then I would be stuck, right? So I started going to school because I knew that if I learned to do it and spent a year, that I was going to have some changes. No matter what, I was going to have some changes. And so I did it for me to start with. And then I realized, whoa, if this worked for me, it'll work for someone else. And I started doing that. And then I expanded out to life coaching. And then I became a master transformational coach. And then it was like, ooh, I need something more. I need something more. And then I started doing hypnosis. And so each one of these things led to something else. But each one of those things, somebody had to be shouting from the rooftops that they had the thing I wanted, right? Without it, I never would have known. So, how many times does somebody come into your path that you have a solution for, or you have a story you can share, even though it may not be a solution? Maybe it's a story to share that would help them, and you don't. So it's time to start. So write about how sharing boldly your story or your solution and how it could impact others. And then how are you going to amplify your voice starting today? All right, so let's go back to our affirmation. It's time to stop whispering and let my voice be heard. My message is powerful, and there are people who need to hear it. I am ready to shout it out with confidence and purpose. And remember, anything that comes after the words I am are ultra powerful. You're claiming it. So I am ready to shout it out with confidence and purpose. And do it, right? Put that on your index card, the screensaver on your phone, your sticky notes. Put it on a piece of paper and stick it to the fridge. Put it somewhere that you're going to be reminded today to stop whispering and let your voice be heard. And then our journal prompt. What's the message you've been holding back that the world needs to hear? And then write about how sharing it boldly could impact others. And one way you'll amplify your voice starting today. I don't know how many books that I've read that the person had a hard time even putting their words out there because they were afraid or they were concerned. Maybe afraid wasn't the right word. They were concerned about how someone was going to perceive their work. Maybe it wasn't going to be valuable for every single person that read it. But I got so much value from that book. And I've got so many books over here that I reread over and over and over again because each time there's a new message for me. So I'm not saying you have to write a book, but I'm saying, what if? What if that's your journey? What if, you just share in a group that you're always in and you begin to sharing a little bit of stuff about some of the things that you've gone through and how you've come out the other side? How can you amplify your voice starting today? I would love to know, right? All right. So the thing is, we take our journal or our notebook, we put the date, the affirmation, the journal prompt, and we spend a little bit of time in complete silence, just listening to our breath, getting in touch with this inner guidance within us, our God voice. And we sit there for 10 to 15 minutes in complete silence, listening to our breath, coming back to the moment. And then when our timer goes off, we just start writing, because you've got a message within you, whether you know it or not. And it's time to get that message out of you and then out to everyone else, right? So what's that message you've been holding back that the world needs to hear? Write about how sharing it boldly could impact others, and one way that you'll amplify your voice starting today. Now, I'm going to end this with an invitation, because one of the things that has been so instrumental for me is the Find Your Voice Challenge. And it has given me so much more insights into me as far as why I do some of the things that I do. And it's really helped me to amplify my voice so that I can be here with you guys sharing these affirmations and journal prompts, so that I can create some of these programs that I've created and be a speaker. I'm going to be a speaker this evening in the, what is it called? living the big dream, I think, something like that. But there is a thing in the group that's about that. So if you want to be there tonight, you can come. I'm going to be speaking um, at 8 p.m. this evening in this group about manifesting your dream, right? But none of that would have happened if I hadn't started amplifying my voice, finding my voice. So the Find Your Voice is a 17-day challenge. It's a digital thing where you get an email a day with a certain challenge for the day. And it all helps you get to the place where you are comfortable and confident to share your voice. Now, sharing your voice is not just about business, right? I shared yesterday in a video somewhere, because I had gotten an email from a company that I use their bot, their app, their something, right? I use their material to work with some of the things that I do. It helps me, right? Makes things faster. And they sent out an email that they're about to change some of the things in their program. They're about to change there's some of the rules and regulations and all these things. And then they said in this email, make sure to let your voice be heard and respond to this email. And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And then another thing that happened that I thought was very profound is I have a Canva account, right? And last year in December, at some point, they sent out or maybe it was November, they sent out a message about how they were raising these prices significantly. And I mean, it's not like it's that expensive, but they were like doubling the price. And when you've got a whole bunch of those little things and everything doubles, that ends up being a lot of outlay, right? But the thing is that people were vocal. People said, they responded, they used their voice to say, don't do this. If you do this, I'm going to have to jump ship and go somewhere else. So what did they do? They sent out a message to all the people that were already in Canva and said, we've decided we're not going to raise the price at the significant amount that we had said. We listened to what you said, right? So it's having the voice to express your opinion about, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. If you're not going to do that, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to do this. So it's being able to do that, right? It is being able to have a conversation with your children's teacher and be confident and able to express your opinions without any worry. It is being able to call anybody that you're dealing with and say, hey, no, we're not doing it this way. It is finding your voice in all the areas of your life, having better boundaries. It is so much more than just speaking out for your business. And so I'm inviting you to join me in this Find Your Voice challenge, and I'll be putting the link in the comments, and you can check it out. And if it's something that you want to do and you feel like it's valuable for you, then yes, join. If not, that's okay. But I want to tell you that it is my responsibility to share it. And then whatever you do with it is entirely up to you. I don't hold any expectations. I will not call you up and say, hey, you didn't do this. What's wrong with you? Right? No, that's not going to happen. I just want to share the message. And so it can be so beautiful. I know there are several people that are in the group that have already decided that they are signing up because they want to do this. Because getting to a place where we can actually amplify our message and our voice, delicious, right? So thank you guys for being here this morning live in the group. And I am so grateful every single day when I get on here and I can have a conversation with you. And so I would love to have you join me if you want. And if not, like I said, everything's good. but I had to tell you what's going on. Just like your responsibility is to tell others what's going on, what would help them, right? All right. So I have to pop off here now. So I want you to have a day filled with compliments. Well, that'd be good too. Compliments and confidence in your voice. And I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. Love you guys.